Have you ever realized that the hardest part of a breakup isn't actually saying goodbye? Episode 4 asks an even harder question. What happens the next morning? Heartbreak doesn't stop the calendar. Monday still arrives. Work still expects you. Life keeps moving, even when you're not ready. Today, I want to talk about why Ji-yoon's breakup might be one of the healthiest I've seen in a K-drama. Why Shibu is one of the most misunderstood male leads in a while, and why one little baseball explains his entire philosophy on leadership. Grab your favorite tea and let's dive in. Broke up yesterday, still clocking in. When I first saw the title, I assumed it was only about Ji-yoon. She just ended up an 8-year relationship and still had to show up for a huge presentation. But after watching it, I realized that the title belongs to almost everyone. Ji-yoon clocks in after saying goodbye to the person she thought she was going to marry. No-ah clocks in after being publicly humiliated. Her ex clocks in after losing the woman he loves. Shiwoo clocks in carrying the weight of his divorce and years of being misunderstood. Even Lee Young-han, the employee everyone believed Shiwoo destroyed, kept showing up while secretly battling panic disorder. Every character is carrying something invisible, and the drama never tells us work heals heartbreak. It simply reminds us that life doesn't wait for us to feel ready. Whether you're grieving, anxious, or heartbroken, tomorrow still comes. The man who couldn't feel worthy. Episode 4 completely changed my opinion of her ex. We learned he wasn't traveling all those times. He was working countless part time jobs. He wasn't running away from Ji-yoon. He was trying to become someone he believed deserved her. When he finally tells her, I can sign with a label now. I can buy you the house with a yard. I won't leave anymore. Listen carefully to what he's promising. He's willing to become an entirely different person, not because he wants those things, but because he thinks that's the only way she'll stay. And that's heartbreaking because Ji-yoon realizes something he doesn't. The passionate musician chasing impossible dreams, the stubborn artist sacrificing everything. That's the person she fell in love with. If she asks him to stop dreaming, to become someone else, she isn't choosing him anymore. She's choosing a version of him that doesn't exist. Neither of them is wrong. They're simply growing toward different futures. And when he hands her his finished album, the dream he chased for 8 years, the proof that all his sacrifices were worth it, she can't even open it. She says it would have felt like prying open a heart that had barely found closure. To her, that album isn't just music, it's every goodbye she didn't understand, every dream that carried him away from her. Sometimes moving on isn't about pretending memories don't exist, it's about choosing not to relive them. Two kinds of love. Here's what makes episode 4 so interesting. Her ex loves her by trying to become worthy of her. She will support Ji-yoon by helping her see she's already worthy. One believes love means becoming enough. The other believes love begins by recognizing the strength that's already there. Neither comes from bad intentions, but the difference changes everything. The baseball lesson. Now let's talk about Kang Shiwoo. For 3 episodes, I thought he was just a perfectionist, cold, efficient, intimidating. But this episode made me realize he isn't obsessed with perfection. He's obsessed with helping people become capable. And the drama shows us this through a little boy trying to get his baseball back. A kid hits his ball into a tree. The children ask Shiwoo to get it down. He refuses. Instead, he lifts the boy onto his shoulders, let him knock it down himself, and says, You got it yourself. That's when I realized Shiwoo treats Ji-yoon exactly the same way. He never rescues her, he prepares her. Bringing her to the stadium wasn't overtime, it was rehearsal. Making her give the presentation wasn't pressure, it was trust. Even when she freezes, he doesn't step in. He simply reminds her, You know the answer. That's who Shiwu is. He's not the hero, he's the mentor. Why everyone misunderstands him. But here's the problem most people never see that side of him. From the outside, he looks cold. He speaks bluntly, rarely smiles, points out mistakes immediately, and doesn't explain himself. So people fill in the blanks. Rumors spread that he's impossible to work with, that employees disappear after joining his team. That's the infamous three no men. But every time we watch his actions, they tell a different story. He notices when Ji-yoon drinks too much coffee and brings her chamomile tea. He catches a baseball with his bare hand to protect her. He buys her porridge, checks her fever, leaves medicine instructions, and asks for nothing in return. Then comes the reveal that changes everything. The employee everyone believes she was destroyed. He suffered panic disorder, had a newborn, was overwhelmed. And who told him to stop working? Shiwoo. Who took over his presentation? Who told him his mental health mattered more than the company? Shiwoo did. The men everyone feared may have actually saved someone's life. The frown and the final word. And then we finally solve one of the funniest mysteries in the show, his frown. Throughout the drama, Ji-yoon assumes every frown means disapproval. Chocolate, ice cream, ideas, everything. Then she realizes he actually frowns when he likes something. I love this reveal because it perfectly summarizes Shiwoo. He's been misunderstood by everyone, including us, not because he's cruel, but because people keep interpreting him through their own assumptions. And then he says something that completely changes the relationship. I guess you were to my liking often. It's not loud, it's not a confession, but it's the closest thing we've gotten so far. Back home, Gio looks at the baseball he caught for her and writes 4 words. We are a team. I don't think she's talking about work anymore. Earlier, she wanted someone who would rescue her, someone who would finally choose her. Now she's discovering something healthier. She doesn't need someone to carry her. She wants someone who stands beside her. Her ex dreamed beside her. She will works beside her. One inspired her heart, the other helps her grow. Episode 4 isn't really about romance. It's about partnership. It's about realizing that love isn't always dramatic confessions or grand sacrifices. Sometimes it's believing in someone before they believe in themselves, helping them grow, making sure they eat, driving them home, then quietly stepping aside when they're finally ready to shine. That's exactly what Shiwu does. And that's why this episode feels so satisfying. Not because romance is beginning, but because trust is. And honestly, I think trust is a much stronger foundation than butterflies. What did you think? Did this episode change your opinions of Shiwu? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for joining me at the Tea House. I'll see you next time.